Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into a super fun and colorful project inspired by the groovy vibes of the 1960s. And I'll be making lots of jewelry, a full coordinated set including necklaces, a pair of earrings and a bracelet. And we'll be using the beads that came in Sam's bead box for the month of April. Now if you're not familiar with that box, I'll leave some information down below along with a link to the website and a coupon code in case you're interested. And don't forget that I always model my jewelry at the end of my videos, so please stick around for that. As you can see, this beautiful set is made mostly with Czech glass beads, but also some gemstones as well. The donut pendant is Chalcedony, and the colors are very retro. We have sunny yellows, soft teals, and warm oranges, perfect for capturing the vintage 60s feel. We're also going to be incorporating some macrame into the choker necklace, and since it's currently springtime here in the US, the flower beads are perfect for the season. Now before we jump into the tutorial, I do want to give you a quick glimpse of the contents of Sam's bead box. And if you've already seen an unboxing video, you can always click on the timestamps down below to skip that part. So if you're ready to get creative and make some beautiful pieces, let's go ahead and jump right in. And here we have Sam's bead box for the month of April 2025. The name of this box, as you can see, is Sassy 60s. And boy, does that have me intrigued. Now, I was pretty little in the 60s, but I'm sure I'll be able to remember some of the colors and design elements from that era. Now, I'm not going to do a very thorough unboxing. I'm just going to give you a quick glimpse because Sam's Bead Shop has a YouTube channel and they always do a very thorough unboxing, both Sam and Rachel. So I'm going to show you a quick glimpse and then we'll dive right into today's project. And one of the things I love right off the bat is how they box it. They always put the label on the front, the month and the year, and the name of the box. And I always end up using these for storage. I have a special place in my studio where I keep them. So if I ever have to go back to any previous boxes, it's easy to find them. So let's open it up. Let's take a look. It says, this month's collection captures the fearless energy of 60s fashion, featuring vibrant florals and geometric motifs of the time. Bright yellows, popping pinks, and fiery oranges are accented by smooth teals and metallics. We especially love the colorful melon strand, laser-cut wood charms, and amazonite rondelles. Whether you design a statement necklace or a playful pair of earrings, we hope you channel a bit of 60s spirit, the confidence to stand out, embrace color, and wear your creativity proudly. What a cool message that is. I love it. And on this side are the contents, as you can see. Everything's listed, the size of the beads and the number of beads per strand. They also list the retail value, which is $90 for the box, but they also list the retail value of each item. Let's take a look. Oh my goodness, how colorful is this? These colors are so pretty together, look at that. Let me get organized and we'll go through each item. Here we have the first 7 strands. There's a total of 14 strands in this month's box. And what a gorgeous palette this is. We have pinks, we have teals, we have some orange as well. They're definitely very bright and happy colors, that's for sure. And of course, Sam's Bead Box always gives you lots of different shapes and sizes and textures as well, and different levels of transparency. As you can see, some of the beads are opaque and some are more transparent, and some are smooth and some are faceted. Lots of choices. Let's take a look at this one here. These are melon beads, as you can see. The color is called 60s Sunrise Mix, and these measure 10.5 millimeters. And here we have a strand of square beads. And by the way, all of these beads are Czech glass beads, in case you're not familiar with Sam's Bead Box. Of course, they also offer some gemstones, which I'll show you in a few moments. But anyway, the color of these is pink opal, and these measure 8 millimeters in size. And here we have a strand of dark rounds. As you can see, these are pretty tiny. They're 4 millimeters in size. And the color is listed as crystal with pink silk accent. And here we have a delicious strand of Czech glass teardrops. The color is listed as teal waters mix, and these measure 9.5 by 12.5 millimeters. These are listed as table cut oval beads, and the color is seafoam crystal, and they measure 6 by 7 millimeters. Now if you'll notice, the table cut portion or the flat portion of the bead has like a star shape. It's real pretty. I love the way it reflects the light. This is a strand of Brio drops, and as you can see, it's a mix of colors, orange and turquoise, although this looks more like a blue to me, but it's real pretty regardless. And this actually looks like a seafoam color. But anyway, there's a total of 25 on this strand, and these measure 6 by 9.5 millimeters. And here we have a strand of tiny Rondelle beads, and they're faceted as you can see. They're Amazonite gemstones, and they're pretty small. They measure 2.5 by 3.7 millimeters. I really like the mix of colors and shapes, and I think they do capture the essence of the 60s. Let me get the next 7 strands. And here we have the rest of the strands. I'm so happy to see flower beads. Now I know they were definitely part of the 60s era, the whole flower power movement, which I think was part of the hippie culture. And I do remember some of that in the 70s as I got older. But anyway, let's take a look at these beautiful gemstones. This is orange Aventurine, and they're faceted rounds, and they measure 6 millimeters in size. And here we have a very delightful strand of Firepolished faceted rondelles. The color is listed as Sunny 60s Mix, and these measure 6 by 8 millimeters. Now these are definitely going to come in very handy. These are hematite Hishi beads, and they have a wavy design as you can see. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but they definitely do have a wavy design. They're gold plated and they measure 2 by 6 millimeters. Here we have a strand of Macrame beads. The color is listed as turquoise luster, and these measure 4 millimeters in size. And here we have a beautiful strand of flower beads. They're actually daisies, and as you can see, there are 2 colors, yellow and blue. They also have a gold wash, and these measure 8.5 millimeters across. And here we have a gorgeous strand of melon beads, and look at that plating. Look at the colors. The color is actually listed as rainbow metallic mix, and these measure 6 millimeters across. And here we have a strand of beryl and saucer beads. The beryl beads measure 6 by 8 millimeters, and the saucer beads measure 2.5 by 6 millimeters. I'm getting inspiration for a bracelet with these beads. I'm not sure if that's what I'll do, but I'm definitely getting some ideas. So now that we've looked at the strands, let's go ahead and look at the rest of the items. Here we have the rest of the items. We have more of the flower theme going on, as you can see. And of course, here's a custom seed bead mix with all the colors of the box. How cool is that? Or groovy, I should say. Or maybe groovy's from the 70s, I'm not sure. But anyway, let me slide these on a rod and we'll take a look. These are listed as flower power beads. Very appropriate, of course. The color is listed as teal shimmer, and it looks like they have a gold wash, and they measure 18 millimeters across. Look at these beautiful transparent beads. I love transparent beads. These are table cut, as you can see. They're actually listed as table cut freeform diamonds, and the color is aqua, and they measure 19 by 22 millimeters. And here we have a Chalcedony donut. It's dyed, and the color is marigold yellow, and it's listed as measuring 29 to 33 millimeters. I'm assuming that's because not all of them are exactly the same. Here we have 3 oval beads, and they have a starburst design. The color is listed as marigold opal mix with a gold wash, and these measure 13 by 18 millimeters. Here we have 3 adorable daisy coin beads. As you can see, the color is orange, and they have a copper wash, and they measure 17 millimeters across. I can see stringing all of these together on a necklace. I think the orange and the teal looks really nice together. But anyway, I'm not sure if this is what I'll do with these, but it's just an idea. And here's some size 11 seed beads. They're Miyuki rounds, and the color is Sassy 60s Mix, and there are 5 grams of seed beads in this tube. And of course, whenever I see seed beads, the bead weaver in me comes out. I'm very, very tempted, especially with all the small beads we received this month. But even if you don't do bead weaving, you can use these as accents. I've used these in between larger beads before on a bracelet, for example. And here we have a very interesting pendant. It's called a mod circle pendant. It measures 25 by 31 millimeters, and it's made in Greece. And I like that it has a nice big loop as well. And from what I understand, these components from Greece are pretty high quality. And here we have 2 chandelier components. They're listed as peacock chandelier charms, and they came in the same bag as this pendant and these diamond components. They measure 16.5 by 23.5 millimeters, and they look like they have an antique finish of some sort. There's the back. The back is a little bit different. It's a little bit flatter in the back, even though it has that brushed effect. And of course, there are plenty of places you can attach beads to. I'm gonna have to play around with these. And here we have some very interesting diamond components. They're actually listed as links. They're pretty small and they're pretty thin. but I like them. I can see all kinds of possibilities with these. These measure 7.5 by 13.5 millimeters, and there's a total of 10. Very, very nice. And I'm intrigued by these. Look at these. These are actually wooden. They're called retro drops, and they're made out of walnut, and they measure 28.5 by 42 millimeters. They're the same on both sides. Of course, right now I'm thinking about earrings, but I don't know yet. You could definitely use one as a pendant, but I'm thinking more earrings because they're kind of lightweight, because they're wood. I'm not sure. So now let me arrange everything on my table and we'll take a look at the whole collection. So here's the full collection. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's bursting with bold colors, flower motifs. So if you're looking to channel that era, this is the perfect box. I love the orange and the teal colors, and these flower and sunburst designs definitely capture the essence of the flower child era. The other thing I like about this box are these focals. I love this chunky donut, the diamond table cup beads, and of course these flower beads. Perfect for statement necklaces. And like I said before, you have a huge variety of textures and finishes. You have the glossy transparent glass, the matte finishes, the opaque glass, and faceted beads. And there's something here for everybody, whether you're going for a minimalist look or boho statement pieces. So now that we've taken a look at the whole box, let's go ahead and get started with today's project. We're going to work on the choker necklace first, and here are the beads I'm going to use. Since I've already gone over them, I'm not going to go over the sizes again, but I am going to list all the materials down below in the description section of this video. I'll list the beads and the sizes and the colors and everything, in case you hit the timestamps and skipped the beginning of this video. But anyway, today I'm going to do something a little bit different. It may be a little unconventional. I'm not sure if anybody else is doing it out there. I'm going to be using some beading wire, but I'm also going to do some macrame on top of that. And the reason I want to do that is because I feel like the beading wire is going to give this choker necklace a little bit more body. Plus, I don't want to use a sliding knot. I want to use a lobster clasp and an extended chain. So anyway, the first thing we're going to do is to string these on beading wire, and I'm going to use 49 strand beading wire, and this one measures 0.015 of an inch in diameter, or 0.38 millimeters, and the color is bronze. And since it's going to be a choker necklace, I'm going to cut myself about a 20-inch piece. It's probably more than I need, but you want to give yourself a little extra for the crimping. And by the way, I'll bring out the crimp tubes, crimp covers, and wire guardians later on when we get ready to use them. So here's my piece of beading wire. I'm going to use a clip at the end so I don't lose my beads. And I'm going to start by sliding on the beads in this order. This is a hematite spacer bead, and now a daisy flower bead, a hematite spacer, bring it all to the center. Let me just bring my ends together. And now I'm going to take this clip and I'm going to place it right by this hematite bead, like that, to keep it in place. I'm going to take the whole thing now, and I know you can't see it, but I'm going to tape off this end to the top of my table. Let me move it up a little bit. And I'm just going to use some Scotch tape. And like I said, I'm going to tape the beading wire to my table to keep it in place. Same thing with this end. Okay, so everything's taped down. And now I'm going to use some nylon satin cord. And I was a little bit torn about what color to use. I thought about using this khaki color, but this cord is a little bit too thin. I wanted something a little bit thicker. Plus, it's not very smooth or satiny. It's kind of rough. And since it's going to be up against my neck, I'd rather have something softer. And then I thought about this color. This is kind of like an off-white color, and it's very shiny, as you can see, and satiny. But this one actually measures 2 millimeters in thickness, and it's a little bit too thick for what I want, I think. So then I thought about this color. This is kind of like a yellowish tone, even though the color is actually beige, if you can believe that. But this one actually measures 1.5 millimeters in thickness, and it's very satiny and soft, as you can see. So this is the one that I settled on, and I think it looks really nice with the beads. But you can use turquoise, you can use orange. It's up to you, whatever color you want to use. I'm going to cut myself about 48 inches, something like that. And again, it's probably more than what I need, but it's better to have more than not enough. Plus nylon cord is pretty cheap. I'm going to slide it underneath my beading wire like this. Find my center. So I'm going to bring my ends together and find the center of the nylon cord. Now getting started is a little bit tricky, I'm not going to lie, but once you get going it's pretty easy. I'm going to take the left side and create a loop, just like that. And now I'm going to take the right cord and I'm going to go underneath the beading wire and through the loop from underneath like this. And pull. And now I'm going to take the right side and create a loop on the right side of the beading wire. Take the left cord, go underneath the beading wire and up through the loop from underneath. And pull. Let me push it up. So once again, I'm going to take the left cord, create a loop on the left, take the right cord, go underneath the beading wire and up through the loop and pull. Take the right cord, create a loop, take the left cord, go underneath the beading wire and up through the loop and pull both ends. Take the left cord, create a loop, take the right cord, go underneath the beading wire and up through the loop. And that's all there is to it. It's very, very simple. Now, once in a while, you may lose your place or you may not remember which side to create the loop. And that's very easy to figure out. If you'll notice, there's a little bump on the right. So that means you're going to create your next loop on the right side. That's how you can tell. If you can remember that, you won't go wrong. Let me show you again. I'm going to take the right cord, create a loop on the right, take my left cord, go underneath the beading wire and up through the loop and pull. And if you'll notice now the bump is on the left side, which means that I'm going to create my next loop on the left. I'll see if I can zoom in when I do the video editing. But that little bump is what you need to look for when you're trying to remember what side to create your next loop. Now everybody's neck circumference is different, obviously. So you're going to have to decide how long you want this piece to be. Let me measure the beaded portion. It measures about 4 3/4 inches. So that means you need to subtract 4 3/4 from the total circumference. So for example, if you want your choker necklace to be 16 inches in length, 16 minus 4 3/4 is about 11 1/4. And then you have to divide that by 2, which is about 5 1/2, maybe a little bit more. If you want to be precise, you'll have to use a calculator. But I'm thinking for myself, probably somewhere between 4 1/2 and 5 inches. But I'm not going to get too hung up about it because I am going to add an extended chain. So I'm going to go ahead and create myself about 5 1/2 inches worth of macrame. I'm going to do it off camera so this video isn't too long. And then when I come back, I'll show you how to finish it off. So I'll see you in a few moments. Okay, I'm back and I've completed about 3 1/2 inches worth. I'm shooting for about 3 3/4 because the crimp covers, the jump rings, and the lobster clasp are going to add to the overall length. And I want the option of wearing it at 14 inches if I want to. And like I said, I'm going to be attaching an extended chain, so I'm not too concerned about it. But anyway, I stopped short of 3 3/4 because now I'm going to crimp off my beading wire and I'm going to tuck the tail into a couple of square knots. And then once I do that, I can trim off my ends and melt them down. So let me remove my tape. Here's the crimp tube. And let me go ahead and slide it onto my beading wire. I'm also going to attach a wire guardian. So I'm going in one end. And now I'm going to go down the other end. Let me pull the tail and bring it down a little bit. And now let me go down the crimp tube. pull the beading wire down. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of space so I can make the last couple of square knots. Plus I need to add a crimp cover. Using my crimping pliers, I'm going to place the tube inside, making sure the wire guardian is out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and squeeze. Turn it sideways. Place it inside the second notch from the front, from the tip. Like that. Squeeze. And that folds the crimp tube over. And I'm going to use the tip to tighten it up a little bit. So that's done. And here's my crimp cover. It's a corrugated crimp cover. I like using these because you don't see the seam as much once they're closed. To close it, I'm going to use these crimping pliers. And you want to make sure the wire guardian is out of the way. You don't want it caught up in there. I usually go around the whole cover to get a nice round shape. And that's good enough. That's as good as it's going to get. I'm going to trim off my beading wire, leaving a little bit of a tail. Let me tape my bracelet down again. Now to keep this end down, I'm going to slide a piece of nylon cord through that loop, through the wire guardian like this. And I'm going to tape this end down. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. Once again, I'm doing a loop on the left. Go underneath. Pull. And I want to make sure that I do it on this side of the crimp cover. Just like that. And let me do one more. Slide it up and pull. Let me unstick this. Remove my nylon cord and let me get the other end. Make sure it's nice and snug. I'm going to go ahead and snip off this cord, leaving just a little bit. And now I'm going to melt off this bit. And by the way, these are hot glue gun finger protectors. I got them on Amazon. I got a whole bag of them. Let me snip off this one. Melt it down. So this end's finished. I think it looks really, really nice. It's a nice finished look. And now I'm going to do this end. So once again, I need to slide a piece of extra nylon cord through the wire guardian like this. And I'm going to tape this end down. Let me just move it up a little bit. Remove my clip and tape this end down. And I'm ready to go again. So I'm going to cut myself another piece of nylon cord, about 48 inches worth. Here it is. I'm going to slide it underneath the beading wire. Find the center. And I'm ready to go again. So once again, I'm going to take the left side and create a loop on the left. Take the right side Go underneath the beading wire and up through the loop and pull. Slide it up. Make sure the beads are up against each other. And now I'm going to take the right, create a loop on the right, take the left, go underneath the beading wire, and go up through the loop and pull. And that's basically it. It's the same thing over and over. So let me go ahead and finish this off camera, and then we'll come back and attach the clasp. So I'll see you in a few moments. As you can see, I finished the other end. Let me show you. I think they look really nice. They're nicely finished. I like this option of having beading wire and macrame at the same time. So now I'm going to attach this extended chain, and I'm going to use one of these beads. It's one of the orange Aventurine beads that came in the box. And it seems kind of silly to use one gemstone in the whole necklace, but I like the color and I like the size. Plus I'm going to be using these in the bracelet we're going to be making. I'm going to grab the pin at the top of the bead like this, and it's a ball head pin, by the way. Bend it, reposition my pliers, wrap the tail around the nose of the pliers, flip the pliers around, and continue to wrap to the back. And let me open up this loop, slide my chain into it, like this. I'm going to grab the loop with these pliers. These are the crimping pliers, but I like using them because they have skinny tips and they grab really well. And now with these pliers, I'm going to grab the tail and do a couple of wraps. Snip off the excess pin. Tuck in the little end. So there's my extended chain. I have two 5mm jump rings, and they're already opened, as you can see. I'm going to slide this end of the necklace into the jump ring, and let me do the lobster clasp. Close up my jump ring. Let me grab this jump ring. Slide this end of the necklace into it. And now the extended chain. Close it up. Let me do it up. And there we go. A very pretty choker necklace. And I like the colors, they're very appropriate for spring. I hope you like it as well. I will be modeling my jewelry at the end of this video, so I want you to stick around for that. So now we're going to move on to the bracelet. Let me get the beads for that. Here are the beads we're going to be using for today's bracelet. These big ones are going to be on one side of the bracelet, and these two are going to be on the other side. In other words, I'll have focals on one side of the bracelet, and then I'll have these smaller beads on the other side, and I'll be creating 2 strands with them. I'll be using 22 gauge wire, and this color is actually called hematite, but to me it looks very bronzy. Let me show you. This is the pendant we're going to use for the necklace, and as you can see, the colors are very similar. But it could be due to the brand. The brand is Wire Elements by Beadsmith. I've had some viewers say that the hematite colors they get are nothing like this one. So you might want to explore that and see what colors are available. You might want to use an antique bronze or something. But anyway, this is very, very simple. I'm going to be creating some beaded components, and I'm going to be doing simple loops. I have a piece of wire here. It measures about 1.25 inches, something like that. I'm going to grab it with my pliers at about 3/8 of an inch down, maybe a little bit less. Bend. With my round nose pliers, I'm going to grab the end, making sure that it's flush with my barrels, and I'm going to form a loop. You want to make sure your loop is closed, and you want to make sure that it's centered as well. Just like that. And now let me go ahead and slide this bead on. Like this. I'm going to grab the wire again with my pliers. Line up the bottom loop the best way you can. Bend. Cut off the excess, leaving about 3/8 of an inch. Grab the end with my round nose pliers and form a loop. Let me grab it with these pliers. And with another set, I'm going to grab the other one and make sure that they're lined up. And that's all there is to it. Very, very simple. Now these are going to be very challenging because they're tiny, but since I'm using 22 gauge wire, it should be fine. So anyway, guys, let me go ahead and create my beaded components with the rest of them. I don't know if I'm going to use all of these down here. I'll have to see how long the strands are once I connect them. Now the loops on this one are pretty small, but I'm going to do something different with this one. One loop will be small, just like this one, and the other loop will be a little bit larger because I'm going to be connecting 2 strands to it. So let me go ahead and create my beaded components, and then I'll come back and we'll assemble the bracelet. So I'll see you in a few moments. As you can see, I've created my beaded components and I've connected the little ones. And luckily it worked out that both strands are the same length. I was a little bit worried about that. Many times when you have beads of different sizes, you can't always get the same length. This one might be a little bit shorter, but I'm not too concerned. If it is, it's just a smidgen. Let me just stretch it out. Yeah, it's a little bit shorter, but just a fraction. It should be okay. But anyway, both of these measure approximately 2 3/4 inches, and these top ones are going to measure 3 1/4 once I connect them. So by the time I assemble everything, the bracelet should be 6 inches in length, which is what I want. Obviously, if you want something longer, you're going to have to add more beads. But anyway, as you can see, I have a clasp. I have a 4mm jump ring. On this side, I have a larger one because I'm going to be connecting 2 strands to the jump ring and the extended chain. And connecting beaded components is very simple. Let me show you. I'm going to open up this loop, slide the next component into it, and close it. And again, I'm going to open up the loop, slide the next one in, close it, and now this one here. It helps to have these kind of pliers. These are called tapered flat nose pliers, and they have a 2mm tip. So that's connected. So now let's go ahead and assemble the bracelet. And by the way, I did make this loop larger on this end compared to this one, because like I said, I'm going to connect 2 strands to it. Let's do that now. Close it up. Let me just check the length again. Let's take a look. It measures about 6 inches. Now another thing I want to talk about are the orientation of the loops. Ideally, the ones on the ends of these 2 strands need to be vertical or perpendicular to the mat. Same thing with this one. And the loops on this one should be horizontal. And the way I check is to start with this one. So horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical. So this one's okay. And now let me check this side. I'll check the orange ones first. Vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal. So I need to change the orientation of this last loop. And now let me check the little ones. Vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical. So that one's okay. I don't need to change that last loop, but I do need to change this one. And that's very easy to do. I'm simply going to grab it, grab the bottom one, and then turn them so that they're perpendicular. So let me go ahead and open up this jump ring. Let me just double check the orientation again to make sure I connect it properly. Vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical. So this one goes like this. And now let me check this one. And this one goes like this. And now my extended chain. Close up my jump ring. And by the way, I did embellish the extended chain the same way that I did when I did the choker necklace. I did a wrap loop, as you can see. And now let me open up this jump ring. Slide my lobster clasp into it. And this loop. Close it up. Is this bracelet cute or what? Look at that. I think it's so adorable. It's really cute, it really is. Let me drape it over my wrist. Here it is. I love this bracelet. I love all the colors. It's so cute. I like these focal beads. I hope you like it as well. And I hope you can make your own. And of course it coordinates with the choker necklace because of the beads. But we're not done yet. We're going to make another necklace, a longer one, and of course a pair of earrings as well. So let me get the beads for that. Well, I decided to go ahead and create some beaded components and connect them. Since I've already shown you how to do that, I didn't think I'd have to show you again. But I am going to show you how to assemble the pendant in just a few moments. But anyway, guys, as you can see, I used the flower beads, I used the barrel beads, the rondelles. I also used these large melon beads. These are going to be by the pendant. And I also used the hematite Hishi beads. This is actually one long strand. We're not going to use a clasp for this necklace because it's going to be pretty long. I think it'll be about 29 inches, something like that, maybe 30. And it's long enough to fit over your head, so you really don't need a clasp unless you really want one. But anyway, as you can see, I distributed the beads the best way I could. I used all of the flower beads that came in the box and the barrel beads as well. So I was basically limited by what I had, and that's why I came up with this pattern. Let me show you. One of the reasons I added this large melon bead is so that I could get some more length because I was pretty much out of the barrel beads. But anyway, as you can see, as far as the metals are concerned, I'm alternating between the Hishi beads and these diamond links. Hishi, diamond, Hishi, and so forth. I'm also alternating patterns with the beads themselves. So I have a set of barrel beads with a rondelle in the middle, and then the next set are the daisy flower beads, a blue one in the middle, and then the two yellow ones. Barrel beads with rondelle, daisy beads, barrel beads, and then up here, this is actually the back of the necklace. This is where you would place the clasp. So instead of having these Hishi beads in the middle, you could put a clasp there if you wanted to, but like I said, I chose not to. And then on this side is a repeat, and that's basically the bead pattern. And these links were actually very easy to connect. I just opened up the loops of the beaded components and slid the link inside. So now we need to attach the pendant. But I do want to talk about the orientation of the loops and the links as well. Obviously, you want the links to sit flat on your chest. You don't want them sticking out. So that's the first thing you need to consider. Let me just show you what I mean by that. Normally what I do is I start with the component that I want flat on my chest. And in this case, it's that link. So I would consider that to be parallel with my mat. Then obviously this next component needs to have loops that are vertical. So horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical. And then of course you need to check the whole thing, not just the end. So I already did that, and all of these are laying parallel to my mat. So I'm pretty happy about that. And I'm mentioning this because, guys, if you don't do this, the necklace won't sit properly and you'll be fighting with it constantly, and that's pretty annoying. But there's another thing I need to talk about with you. To attach this donut bead, I'm going to use these pieces of chain like this, which means that I'll be using a jump ring on the first and the last link of the chain, and the jump ring will be vertical. So that's going to be a problem now because these components are going to sit vertical or perpendicular to my mat. So to solve that problem, what I'm going to do now is to change the orientation of this loop. So in other words, this one will be vertical, but this one will be horizontal so that it connects to the jump ring that's connected to the chain. I hope that makes sense. I know it's a little confusing, especially if you're new, but let me show you how to change the orientation. It's very easy. You just grab both loops like this and turn them. So now they're perpendicular to each other. Let me do this one as well. So the first thing we're going to do is attach the chain to the donut bead. Let me just open up one of these jump rings. These are 5 millimeters in size. I'm going to go ahead and slide this link into the jump ring, and now I'm going to slide it through the hole and then grab the last link on the other side like this and close it. Let me open up another jump ring. Same thing with this piece. I'm going to slide it through the hole and then grab the last link on the other side and close it. So now comes the difficult part. We need to connect the strand to the jump rings that are just connected. And that's not going to be easy because what I need to do now is to go through each one of these loops to make sure they're sitting properly before I connect them to the jump rings. So the first thing I'm going to do is to slide something through that loop. This one right here, because this one's going to sit vertically. And I'm just going to place my pliers through it like this. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, this loop's going to sit vertically and this one's going to sit horizontally or parallel to my mat. Let me just move these items out of the way for the time being. And now I'm just going to go through each component: horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, and vertical. And I'm just going to keep going like this through the whole necklace until I get to this end. And when I get to this end, I'm going to put something through that vertical loop to keep it in place so that I can connect the whole thing properly. So let me keep going. Okay, I've checked the whole thing, and this one's going to sit like this, so let me stick my pliers through there. Hopefully it'll stay in place. I can't emphasize how important this part is because you definitely don't want any of these beaded components twisted up or flipped around. It's kind of hard to explain, but if ever you've made a necklace where the components aren't sitting properly, that's the reason why. So here's my pendant, and I've already opened up this jump ring. So now I'm going to go ahead and slide this loop into the jump ring like this, and let me close it up. So now that's connected, and this is how it's going to sit on your chest. And now let me go ahead and open up this jump ring. Let me see where the cut is. Sometimes it's hard to find the cut. There it is. Open up my jump ring and slide this loop into it this way and close it up. So now my donut piece is connected, my donut bead I should say. I think it's super cute, it really is. So now we're going to connect this piece down below. I'm also going to connect this rondelle, and I'm going to use the same kind of wire, 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to use a pretty long piece. This piece measures about 5 inches or so because we're going to be doing some wrap loops. So I'm sliding it through the hole like this, almost to the middle of it, but not quite. I'm going to bend it upward like this. Make sure it's even on both sides. I'm going to grab these two pieces on the right, this one, and I'm going to go ahead and twist a couple of times. Just like that. It's not super neat, so let me see if I can bring those wraps closer and straighten this one out. Let me grab my wire and I'm going to do one more wrap. Cut off the excess. Tuck in that little end. Let me straighten it out a little bit. Slide my bead onto my wire. Grab the wire right where the bead is, bend it, reposition my pliers. Actually, let me go further down because I want the loop to be nice and big. Wrap the tail around the nose, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. So now I have a loop. Let me open it up, slide this component into it. Grab the loop with these pliers, grab the tail and do a couple of wraps. Snip off the excess. Tuck in that little end. And now do you want to check the orientation of the loop? And it looks like it's okay. Let me straighten it out a little bit. That looks pretty good. So that's what we have, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks great. And it's going to look really nice with the other necklace. I like the combination of having a choker necklace and then layering it with something longer. I am going to put both pieces on at the end of this video, like I mentioned before, because I want you to see how they look together. And of course, since Sam and Rachel curated this box so perfectly, these two are going to look great together. So now let me get the materials for a quick pair of earrings. I'll be right back. Here are the materials for the earrings. Now the style doesn't match the necklace because obviously we have like a geometric design going on. And these are definitely not geometric, but that's okay. I really don't mind. As an alternative, instead of using this component, you could use one of these beads and have this flower bead below and then a gemstone below that. It's up to you. I'm just trying to give you some ideas. But anyway, I think they're going to look really nice with the 2 necklaces, regardless. And I simply connected these beads with ball head pins. I did wrap loops, and that's very easy to do. Let me show you. I'll go ahead and do this one first. I'm going to grab the pin at the top of the bead like this, bend it, reposition my pliers, wrap the tail around the nose of the pliers, flip the pliers around and continue to wrap to the back. I'm going to open up this loop, slide the chandelier component into it, like this, grab the loop with these pliers, grab the tail and do a couple of wraps. Cut off the excess, tuck in that little end, so now my flower bead is connected, and now I'm going to do the same thing with these 2. I'm going to connect them to these 2 loops. So now I've got my 3 dangles connected, and now I just need to attach the ear wire hook, and that's very simple to do. I'm going to open up the loop of the ear wire hook like that, slide my earring into it, and close it up. Make sure I've connected it properly because this side of the earring is a little different than this side. And it looks like I have. So now we have 2 very cute earrings to go along with the necklaces. I really like them. Let me just move them closer and I'll bring out the necklaces. And of course the bracelet as well. We have this one. We have the beautiful bracelet. And we have the choker necklace as well. Let me see if I can move things down a little bit. I know you can't see the whole thing, so let me pan upward. There's the top. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. I think these colors are so pretty. They're spring-like because of the flowers, but the colors are also very summery and definitely very 60s-like. As always, I'm going to go ahead and model everything for you. If you have time, I'd love to hear your opinion. If you could leave some comments down below, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.